Again, I'm back with another tutorial. This tutorial is going to be a bit longer because I'm going to try covering basic drawing objects in Autocad 2016. I will cover in this video, I will cover circles, arcs, eclipse, splines, polylines, rectangles and polygons. So let's get started. I'm going to start a new drawing here, but I'm going to go open a template I just made before. In later videos I will show you how you can make templates as well. So I can start a drawing by opening a template. How do we do that is by clicking this arrow button, and then I just made template before, always 2D start, so I'll click on that. So there you go, we got our drawing. So now I'm going to show you quickly that what changes I made in this template. So I'll go and type units. It will take us to unit dialog box. I've changed this to architectural precision is 1/4. Unit scale is inches. So I click OK. And there's another thing I did in this template is drawing limits. So my x-axis is 500 feet and y-axis is 500 feet as well. So I'll start with circles in this video. I'll go and click the circle icon. And then now it's going to ask me to specify first point. So I can click anywhere in my drawing area. Let's go, I click here and I drag my cursor. As you can see, once I drag my cursor away from the specific point, it's going to start drawing a circle. And it's going to ask me, I can define a radius here. Let's say if I go and type 20 feet, okay, and now my radius of this circle is 20 feet. I can check that by clicking on it and go to my properties panel, and as you can see, radius is 20 feet, diameter is 40 feet. So I'll go and cancel and delete this circle. I delete this circle by pressing E, this erase command, select the object, enter, and it's gone. You can delete by pressing delete key on a keyboard as well. So next circle we're going to look at is diameter. So it's the same circle, specify first point, drag away and specify your diameter. Let's go ahead and do it. I click, drag, and I go 40 feet. Now I just want to mention one thing. Down here, as you can see, my diameter is set to 40 feet already. If I don't click and press enter or spacebar, it will draw a circle with diameter of 40 feet. You know why? Because recently I specified a radius 20 feet, so diameter is double than radius, so that's why the AutoCAD automatically set my diameter to 40 feet, because I just specified radius before. So I go and type 40 feet and OK, and I go to my properties panel. As you can see, my diameter is 40, radius is 20. So this is very simple circle command. You can toggle on this command by pressing CI. The full command is circle, but if you type CI, AutoCAD will automatically complete this for you. So I go and select a circle. I cancel the circle command and go back to my circle in the draw panel. So I go and click this arrow button and I select 2-point circle. What does it mean is basically I need to specify 2 points and AutoCAD will draw a 2-point circle between those objects. So to simply show you, I'm going to go and draw a line. I go draw a line, one line, click enter or click right click to end the command. And remember, in the last video we turned on the time sensitive click. So if I go and right click on the mouse, it will turn on the previous command. So I don't have to go and click line command again. So I go and draw another line. Enter a spacebar. It's your personal preference. You want to get used to by pressing spacebar, enter or right click on a mouse button. I'm used to it with spacebar, so it works for me. So now I go and click this arrow down here and select 2-point circle. And now it's going to ask me 2 points. So it's going to ask me to specify the first point and then specify the second point. So I go and click here, and then as you can see, it's drawing between these two objects. Okay, let's go and draw another line. I'll go draw another line by pressing L. That's line command, so AutoCAD will complete that for me. I'll go and draw a line, let's say here. Okay, so now I'm going to go and select 3 points circle. You go and select that. Now I have to specify 3 points, and then AutoCAD is going to draw 3-point circle between these 3 objects. So I go and select that one, and then that one, and then you can see that one. So the circle cross those 3 points where we selected. So that's a 3-point circle. And let's go, and I'm going to delete these 3 lines, and I'm going to try making a shape with my line command. Let's go and draw a line. Okay, so let's say you got a diagram here now, and now if you want to draw a circle between these 3 objects and constrain that between these objects, you can do that by selecting 10, 10, 10. So it's a tangent. Basically it's gonna, as you can see in the help menu, it's select 3 points and try to constrain the circle between those points. So select that, and then when I hover over my cursor to the line, as you can see that green icon appears. That means it doesn't matter where I click, as long as I've selected that line, I'm good. So I select here, and the second one I select there, third one select here. And now as you can see, AutoCAD automatically calculated and draw a 3 tangent circle for us. There's another command here with the radius. What it does, it's the same tangent. It selects 2 tangents in 1 radius. So I go and select, let's say, I'll go draw another object. Let's say I'm draw a circle. Let's go and draw another circle here. Okay, so now if I want to draw a circle between these 2 objects, I can go and select 10 and 10. Let's go 10, 10, and to radius I'll specify that one there. And there you go. You got the circle there between these 2 objects. Okay, now there's one thing I just want to talk about here. Let's say I draw a simple circle. I'll select that simple circle there, and I want you to draw a 3-point circle. So to do that, I don't have to go all the way back and drag, click on this arrow button and select this 3-point circle. I can actually do it by clicking on a command line, or you can do that by shortcut key as well. Just type 3P. I've told you guys before that anything with the blue here, you type in and it will toggle it on. So I got 3 point, and 1, 2, 3. That's it. So anything on a command line, you need to pay attention to command line anytime you're working in AutoCAD. So I go and select circle again. I can specify a 2-point circle. I can specify tangent, tangent radius, or I can specify TTR. For TTR it's just T. Press T, and 1, 2, 3. You know why? It's not drawing, because tangent only work with an object. You cannot draw a circle without any object. So I go and draw quickly, let's say 3 circles. And I've got 3 circles here, and I'll draw circles between these 3 circles. So what I do, once I've drawn the circle command is still there, so I can go and type T, and then I go and click here, click on the second one, click on the third circle. Done. So as you can see why it didn't work, because that is too far. That's too far to calculate. That's why AutoCAD just did it automatically for us. It was close. It could constrain that circle between these 3 objects. So I'm pretty sure that I've covered everything about circles now. So if there's any questions about circles, drop down a comment and I will answer your questions. And you can follow me on Twitter and directly message me if you have any questions. Okay, so now we'll look at arc. If you go and click this arrow button down here, you see we got a lot of different kind of arc here. So the first one, the basic one, is 3-point arc. I've drawn a door diagram where you can actually specify a door to show you guys how arc works. So now I'm going to go and select this basic arc, and let's say I have to specify 3 points now. I'm going to specify first point, second point, and then let's say that one. So that's how you draw a 3-point arc. Okay, now we look at the different kind of arc here. We look at the start, center, and end. So I'm going to select start, center, end. So I'm going to select start point here, center here, and I'm going to select end point right there. So we successfully made our door swing. So what does that mean basically? You need to specify a start point of the arc, center, and end point. And the next one I'm going to talk about is start, center, and angle. So select that command. Okay, I show you now that how the arc works basically. I'm just going to go and delete this and then select that same arc, start, center, end. So if I go and select the first one here, center point, that one, and that last one is about here. So as you can see, the arc work as a counterclockwise. That's kind of problem, but in some cases when you're working on a drawing, you need to work with counterclockwise. So sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but we'll talk about it in later videos. So for now, just to let you guys know that arc work as a counterclockwise. Okay, so I'm gonna go and draw a 3-point arc now to show you a bit more about the arc. Let's go and I'll draw this arc. And now I'll go and select this arc. You see these 3 vertex points we got. Okay, so now the first one I'm gonna show you is hover your cursor there, and once it turns red, then you can click and you can basically move the arc wherever you want to move. Let's go and check out that one. If I go and select, once it turns red and I click, I can actually move the arc and I can stretch it where I want to stretch. So okay, so there's another thing I'm going to show you. Okay, if you go and hover over, and you get 2 options here. It says stretch or lengthen. Lengthen means if you draw a line, let's say I'm going to go and draw an arc. Let's say I've got this line here and I'll draw 3-point arc now. I go draw, and draw. And let's say you want to draw at the end of this line there. What you have to do is just select this arc, hold on the button, and then click on lengthen, not the stretch. Stretch I showed you before. You can move and stretch your arc, but if I go lengthen, I can just reverse the arc. Let's say I can make more. I can push it back. You know, I can decrease the size of the arc. So I can go and click that, and then I can just reduce the size of the arc. There's another thing I'm going to show you. Okay, let's go. You select this arc, and then you click here, and then hold down the shift button and right click. And now as you can see, you get a lot of options there. These are the object snapping options, what I will talk about in later video. But now you can see you got this options just to show you that if you hold down the shift button and then right click, you will get a lot of options. Let's say you want to select endpoint. Okay, so you want to go and select the endpoint now. Let's get any other object got. Okay, I'll go and draw another arc now. Just quickly, I'll draw an arc and I'll draw another line there. Let's say you want to attach this end of the arc to this end of the arc. So you can go and select the arc, hold on the shift button, right click, and select endpoint. So once you select endpoint, you can drag this in and put that to that endpoint. So now just try another arc here. Okay, so we're gonna look at this continue arc now. What it does is basically, if you select this one, it's gonna start a tangent from the previous point you left off. So if I go and click here, as you can see, I've got the arc started from the point I left off. So I can make very good, I guess, diagrams about this, we'll talk about a way you can use these kind of arcs in the main project. So I'm gonna start making a projects videos, so you can go and continue the game, so you can keep going. You can make pretty awesome shapes with this. Okay, we covered the continuous, the command. So now with these arcs, just try these arcs. All these arcs doing the same thing. It's just a matter of starting the point, center, and ending the point. Let's go and maybe start this one. Start end and radius, start end and direction. You know, just try out, and you will find out. You see now, if I make this arc, I can specify the direction of the arc. Okay, and the last thing with arc, I'm going to tell you guys, let's go and draw this 3-point arc. And then, as you can see, we keep an eye on the command line. If I go and press C, and it's going to ask me to specify the center point of the arc. As you can see now, it's basically drawing a circle now, because it's going to draw around that radius what I give it. So now, with these kind of arcs, you can actually change this option. Let's say center, start, end. Yeah, so I center, start, end, and now I've got these options. I'm gonna change the length. I can define angle of the arc. So just keep an eye and keep trying this out. So in the later videos when we're gonna start a project, and then we'll look at it, how can we use these kind of arcs in our practical project. So that's it for now for the arc. Any questions, put down the comment, and I'll talk to you about the next object. Okay, so now we look at Eclipse in AutoCAD. I've drawn 2 lines to show you how Eclipse works. It's just like an old shape, it's a circle, but so to draw an eclipse, I go and click on the Eclipse command on a draw panel, or I can type ELL and AutoCAD will complete that for us. And now to specify eclipse, you need to specify endpoint of the eclipse. Let's go and I go select that point, and I go select this point, and then you can see that we can draw our eclipse. Down here I've got a rotation option, I'll show you in a moment. So if I just turn this on, it's going to rotate. It doesn't really matter in 2D, but when we're going to start working on 3D, it does matter. So that's how you draw eclipse. And now we'll try another one for that, but I'm gonna go and show you another command, point. So if you go PO, you can specify a point. Let's say I will just specify 1 point here. I go and specify another point by pressing spacebar, which toggle on the previous command. So I go specify that, and I specify another one center point there. Okay, to working with Eclipse, you're gonna make sure that you toggled on this object snap by pressing F3 is a shortcut key, or you can just turn on and make it blue. And then click on this arrow there, and then you gotta make sure that you need to turn on the node. What node does is basically, let's go, if I turn this on and I go and draw a line, I can select this endpoint, I can select midpoint, and I can select another endpoint. But if I go and turn off this node there, as you can see, if I turn on the line command and I can't select this point. To select the point, I need to turn on this node. So once I go and start a line, I can select the node now. So for that, you make sure that you turn on node, and then go to Eclipse, and then start drawing Eclipse, and you can specify your center point there. Okay, so now I'm going to show you another type of eclipse here. Is elliptical eclipse. What it does is, it's pretty much the same, but we got a few more options here. Let's go in and define a center point. Okay, I'll go and define this by pressing C, enter, and now I have to specify center point. So I select this center point, and now I go take my axis to my end point. As you can see, it drew the Eclipse, but we got a few more options here. If I just press enter, and after that it can ask us to define the distance now. So I'm gonna go and select the distance here, and now I can define the parameters. Go parameter, and I can define the parameter as well, and angle of the eclipse. As you can see now, I can define what parameter and what angle I want to define. So that's how you work with Eclipse. You will have a great idea when we're working on a practical project. So for now, this tutorial is basically just to give you an overview of the basic drawing objects. So the next object I'm going to talk about is, okay, now we'll look at Eclipse. Sorry, now we're going to look at splines. To turn on the spline, I'm going to give you another trick here. To do that, I'm just going to go and insert, and I'm going to click on attach, and I'm going to go and bring this image. It's an island somewhere in the world, but I want to trace the boundaries of this island. So I go and click that, turn this on, and now it's an image in AutoCAD, but I want to trace these boundaries. I can do that by choosing spline. So I go and click here. We got two splines here, spline fit and spline CV. So I go and click on spline fit first to show you what's going on. Before you do that, you make sure you turn off your object snap or ortho, because these two options can get away in using spline. So I'll just go and click, 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 click. As you can see, I can trace the boundaries of the island. So I'm just gonna stop here now to show you what's going on, because if you wanna practice, you can keep going with this picture, but I'm just gonna stop now. Okay, so once I turn off my command, I'll go and check this spline. You see these grip points there. I can just go and move them around and edit my spline. I can even go and, let's say I've got this here, but I want to push this here, and I want this to a little bit go outside. So what I can do, I can go up here and add a fit point. So I can just click anywhere I want, and I can add a fit point, and then I just grip and drag it outside. I can even remove my fit point, and I can stretch, which is basically a default command to after gripping these vertex. So pretty much that's it. You can use spline to trace your islands or any drawing, any JPEG files. So now you know how you bring the JPEG files in there to trace the boundaries. Are you making a 3D model and you want to trace those pictures? So you can do that as well. We will look at those options later in the course, but now this is how you can use spline. Well, just go ahead and try the other spline, which is spline CV. I click that and I start drawing again. I'll go this side this time. As you can see, the spline is not actually drawing where I'm clicking, it's keeping the radius, it's keeping the momentum basically. So I just go keep clicking, 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 and clicking, and enter. And now what you can do, you can click and you can actually drag this out. You can see that even if I'm dragging that all the way there, it's constraining the position. It's not destroying my spline. So I've got a few more options here, just like before. I can stretch vertex, I can add vertex to it, I can remove, I can refine vertex as well. So I can just add vertex, refine. You see that now? And if I go and let's say I will select this and shift and right click, and now I got a few more options here. I can choose my snapping option. I can turn off and turn on my snapping option there. So this is basically very simple command spline. and it is used to plot a lot of drawings, like big drawings. You want to draw boundaries around it, or you want to plot a curvy shape things. You can do that by using spline. So pretty much that's it. So let's talk about next object. Okay guys, let's talk about this very basic object in AutoCAD, a rectangle. If you hover over that, as you can see, it's telling you that you need 2 points to draw a rectangle. I go and select rectangle, and I specify my first point, and I drag it down, and I'll specify my second point. So that's how you draw a rectangle. But let's talk about it a bit more. So I select that, and I can just change, and I grip my vertex, and I can move around. If you want to change this line to arc, you can do that as well. You can just go and then click on convert to arc. It will convert that line to arc. That's simple. I can bring my arc back to line. Hover over, convert to line. I can drag and stretch as well. So that's how you can draw arcs and make the shapes whatever you want. So let's go. I'm gonna go and delete this arc, and I'm gonna go and select the arc. Select the rectangle again. I can type REC to turn on rectangle. And now before I specify my first point, as you can see, I've got a few options here: chamfer, elevation, fillet, thickness, and width. So if I press down arrow, right click, so if I go and start my rectangle command, and as you can see, I told you guys before that anything with the blue, C, E, F, T, V, W, it's those letters can turn on those commands. So I go and show you the fillet first, what fillet does. So I'll type F, enter, and it's asking me the radius of the fillet. So I'll go and say 2 feet. Okay, once this radius is specified, I go and draw my rectangle, and then I'll delete and draw again. It didn't work actually. Okay, I go F fillet, and I go, let's say 10 feet. It's still not working. You know why? Because a rectangle is way smaller than 10 feet. So how it's supposed to curve the edges? So I go and draw a bigger rectangle, and I go and check my dimensions here by going to the properties panel. So it's 5 by 10, so it's pretty okay now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go delete this, draw a rectangle, go to fillet, and I'm going to go on 2 feet fillet. And now as you can see, our rectangle corners around it. This is the radius of the rectangle basically. So to round the rectangle, you can do that. You can click and you can convert these to lines. You can convert these back to arcs. You can stretch any of the vertex you want. As you can see, you can make any shape you want with these. So just gonna show you a chamfer now. I'm going rectangle, and before you specify a chamfer, you need to turn off fillet, because the fillet command is sticky. If I go press F fillet, you see that 2 feet is already there. It's still there. So I need to make it 0. So I go and press 0, and now our fillet is 0. So now I can go and select chamfer by pressing C, and let's go and do 2 feet for this as well. And now we draw a chamfer. As you can see, the corners of our rectangle are chamfered. So I draw another rectangle and go to chamfer, and I go 2 feet, dimensions alright, and I go and click here. So as you can see, the corners we got the chamfer. It's kind of beveled. It does the beveled around your rectangle. Let's go and draw another rectangle here and go to chamfer, 2 feet is fine, and then the distance of the rectangle I'm going to make it 0. And now if you draw the rectangle, now there is no chamfer here because a distance specifies the chamfered size. So you gotta make sure that you specify chamfer size as well. So I go and go chamfer, and distance for rectangles is fine. I'm gonna go 10 feet here, and I go draw this chamfer again, and now you see it's been chamfer. You can turn this to, same as with the normal rectangle, you can turn this to arc, you can turn this back to line. So this is basically a rectangle command. So now we'll look at the polygon. Polygon is basically more than 4 corners. If you want to specify more than 4 corners, you can use polygon. Select that. How many sides you want to specify? Let's say I go 8 sides. I press 8, enter, and I then start drawing my polygon. As you can see now, I've got 8 sides, 8 corners of polygon. That's called polygon, you know that. I can still change this to arc. I can add vertex, I can remove vertex on it. So just play around with this and you will find your way. You can make any kind of shapes, any kind of diagrams with these things. Okay, so one more thing, once everything is done with the rectangle or polygons, you gotta make sure that you bring your default setting back. So I go on 0 and 0, so my chamfer is back to 0. There's another thing I'm gonna show you.